Hey, and welcome to the Autonomous Income Podcast. This is your co-host DJ. Just with a quick hit for today. All the amazing things that OpenAI has been releasing lately, including Agent Kit, in addition to SORA 2 and all the other things as well that we've been playing around with here on the channel. If you look at some of our shorts, you'll see some of the things that Deuce and I have been creating. It's hilarious. It's a really cool tool, super easy to set up, but we have another episode that'll kind of go over that more in detail that'll be coming out shortly. But all right. So Google, what we wanted to get on and kind of discuss that today. When they get quiet, that's typically when they're cooking. And right now, reportedly, there's a few people that have gotten access to Gemini 3 Pro. And, there's a lot of, a lot of people basically saying that this is going to blow the water out of everything else in competition. So not only just with their, with their model, because, Gemini 2.5 Pro was a very solid model as well. But we know with the Gemini models, coding and all that, that's one of their strong suits. Now, recently, of course, Claude 4.5 just came out, and that's also making headwinds as well. And if you check the LLM arena or the LM arena as it is right now for text, Gemini 2.5 Pro is still at the top. But close behind it is a new Claude Sonnet 4.5 model. I mean, directly right behind that. And then even in third place as it is right now is a Claude Opus 4.1 model. Those models are hot on the press. OpenAI, their Chat GPT, believe it or not, in fourth place is Chat GPT 4.0, the latest version of that model. That looks like the checkpoint was around May of this year, if I'm reading that right, or March timeframe. But either way, I mean, close enough. But the whole point is just like Gemini is still on top when it comes to if you want text. And in my experience as well, Gemini is definitely the model that I go to if I wanted to help me draft or write something, or definitely want to go there. I want to say about 3.0 Pro, the testing and the benchmarks and all of that. And I think benchmarks, they might be saturated. I don't know if it moves a lot of people anymore. I don't really look for the benchmarks anymore. At first, that was pretty cool, but it looks like a lot of the models are just killing most of the benchmarks that are out there. So kind of past that. But what I can't wait to see is that they're also revamping their app. So it looks like reportedly Google's going to revamp the Gemini app itself. So this way it can compete more with SORA 2. So I don't know if they're going to turn it into try to do the platform approach to turning it into like a social media thing that kind of looks like TikTok and scrolls like TikTok. I mean, it'd be interesting if they take that approach. Google has, I want to say Google Plus. Years ago, they tried to do the whole social networks media thing. And, you can look at history books about, how that went. This is a new approach. They do have a very strong video model, VO3. Some people still say it's the king. They just, they don't have that vertical aspect ratio, at least without using the API and all those other things. But so far right now, SORA looks like it took the pendulum is shifted back to OpenAI when it comes to video because of SORA and all of those things. And then we do have some access code for SORA 2. If you haven't got one yet, we'll be raffling those off. Please make sure to hit that subscribe button, like, share, do all the things. And that way it enters you a chance to be one of the lucky winners to win yourself a SORA 2 access code for the free. So that way, you're not out there on eBay or wherever all those people and they're trying to charge for that, which is just absolutely crazy. Okay. So in another thing that they have going on right now is, so everybody's agents. So of course, after Agent Kit was announced by OpenAI here, Google practically the next day or a couple of days afterward, they announced their agent that it's a Gemini 2.5 computer use model. So this one crawls the internet practically just like you and I. Very efficient model that crawls the internet and just, has agentic capabilities on the web, just like a human. Leaps and bounds ahead of its first version. So that's going to be interesting. So of course, they're probably going to package this all together. I'm sure whenever, the Gemini 3 announcement is happening, all of this will kind of just be packaged and polished and all of those things into their announcement. And frankly, it's heating up. It's been heating up for a while, but right now it just feels like we're actually getting to the point where these models are really solid and they're really doing some cool things, and you don't have to go back and forth a lot with them. I mean, the reasoning, of course, these are reasoning models that they're releasing lately. I mean, they're actually reasoning, right? They're actually seemingly able to really think through a lot of the problems in whatever situations that you're giving these models. And yeah, so a lot of these reasoning models that are out there are doing exactly what they're stated to do, reasoning, thinking through, and just, providing a lot of great value. I have a lot lot of my entrepreneurs that are using them in different use cases for all of their businesses. People like myself and Deuce that are helping out small businesses with all of their agentic workflows, managing their inbox and just doing all kind of tasks. And now with Agent Kit, I'm interested to kind of leverage that, because if you use N8N, or if you use Relevance AI, or if you use Lindy, or any of these other tools that are out there, going directly with ChatGPT could have its pros and cons, and we'll get into that in another video. But I mean, they have apps now that they've integrated directly into the platform, like Zillow, and that's for the real estate investors. If you want to type in what could be potentially a good wholesale deal in a certain zip code, I mean, theoretically, it can bring up certain addresses. They don't necessarily need to be on the market. If it can pull multiple sources, who knows, right? So you can start really seeing how these agents are going to help out people in all different types of walks of life. So I'm excited about that. Yeah, so just a quick kind of update today. So the Gemini 2.5 computer use model. Yeah, so can't wait to play around with the Gemini 2.5 computer use model, which was released October the 7th, just to kind of, get a feel for what that is. And I'm not sure which plan that's tied to. I'll drop a link down. It might be on like one of their paid plans. I doubt it's on their, just for anybody and everybody, like on their free plans. But we'll definitely play around with that and kind of compare it to ChatGPT's agent mode, which I've definitely used that before, and that's pretty solid. And I like the interaction with that. I like the interaction with that to where you can communicate with it back and forth, which is pretty cool. So you can essentially, tell the model, or you can essentially take over the experience in the model. So like in the web, you just click take over, you jump into their kind of virtual environment and just, go in the web browser, sign into whatever you need to. And of course, they're saying like none of your stuff that you type in, none of that's tracked. So that way you can log into a website or whatever the case is, and then they can proceed to buy you something or purchase something or do whatever. Yeah, I mean, I think for certain use cases, it does work. We do have a discussion that we're going to be talking to, and we have an interview actually to talk about some of the developers that are building these agentic systems also. And that'll be a good to kind of just dive in a little bit deeper from that aspect and from their perspective to see like what are the most valuable use cases that they're actually seeing from that side of it versus just on the consumer side of it, where people, it seem like they're still kind of finding like what is an actual valuable use case for some of these tools. And of course, the people that have found that, they're scaling like crazy. A lot's going on. I'm sure you're hearing all kind of news and all the things. We'll definitely keep you posted. Yeah, and that's it. Like I said, make sure, like, share, subscribe, and let us know what you think about all the new tools coming out. If you have any questions, anything like that you're trying to find out, any interviews that you want us to line up, definitely let us know. Feel free to comment. Peace.